Populism is one of the main political buzzwords in recent history. The term is frequently associated with anti-establishment and anti-political sentiment. Though the term is not new, its historical context has been applied to various politicians, parties, and movements, often as a pejorative term. The term is often used by scholars, political analysts, and journalists to describe either left-wing political figures, in some countries, or even right-wing political parties, in certain jurisdictions. But while the term has great appeal to many journalists and readers alike, its broad usage also creates confusion and frustration. In this video, we aim to clarify the phenomenon of populism, and also highlight how this political approach can and have affected public policy. So, subscribe now. And let's get started. Let's first explain how different scholars have defined the term populism. We must first acknowledge that there is no precise or uniform definition of populism that everyone can agree on. On the contrary, the term is treated ideologically, as it is regularly used as a type of argument in public debates, often to weaken opposing ideas, and sometimes to raise a warning about the opponent's position. However, from a political viewpoint, some scholars have attempted to define this term as follows. Cass Moodie, a political scientist who focuses on political extremism and populism in Europe and the United States, defined populism as an ideology that considers society to be ultimately separated into two homogeneous and antagonistic groups, the pure people, who are the rightful holders of sovereignty, and the corrupt elite, who are depicted as exploiting the people for their own gain. According to Ernesto Laclau, who was a political theorist and philosopher, populism presents itself both as subversive of the existing state of things and as the starting point for a more or less radical reconstruction of a new world order, wherever the previous one has been shaken. Paul Taggart, a professor of politics, denies that populism is a radical democratic movement. In Taggart's view, the goal of populists is not the realization of sovereignty, of the masses, but of a heartland society, of a virtuous and unified people. According to these definitions, populism has the following key elements: a distinction between the people and the elite. This is when populists claim to represent the interests of the common people, who they see as being exploited by a corrupt elite. Populism also focuses on popular sovereignty. In this instance, populists believe that the people should have the ultimate power in society, and that governments should be accountable to them. Another key element of populism comes from its simplistic view of the world. This is evidenced by populists often offering simplistic solutions to complex problems, and they may scapegoat minority groups or have other scapegoats, as mentioned previously. It is important to note that populism is not a single ideology, and there is a wide variety of populist movements and parties around the world. However, these definitions provide a good starting point for understanding the basic elements of populism. Here are some examples of populism in recent history. In the United Kingdom, the vote to leave the European Union was also seen as a victory for populism. The Leave campaign, famously coined as Brexit, appealed to voters' concerns about immigration and sovereignty. In Hungary, Viktor Orbán has been accused of using populism to consolidate his power. Orbán is reportedly to have cracked down on the media and civil society, and has pursued policies that benefit his supporters, such as tax cuts for the wealthy. In the United States, the election of Donald Trump in 2016 was a victory for populism. Trump promised to drain the swamp in Washington, which was seen as the elite, and to put America first, which may be considered as the regular people of the United States. Trump also made a number of populist appeals, such as building a wall on the border with Mexico and banning Muslims from entering the country. These are just a few recent examples of how populism can affect public policy. The impact of populism can vary, depending on the country and the specific policies that are pursued. However, it is clear that populism can have a significant impact on the way that governments are run. In the following section, we delve into some of the specific ways in which populism can affect public policy. Populist leaders often promise to provide immediate benefits to their supporters, even if this means running up large deficits. They also tend to prioritize short-term economic gains to appease their electoral base, which can have adverse long-term consequences. This can lead to unsustainable fiscal policies and economic instability. Populist leaders may also pursue redistributive policies, such as tax cuts for the poor, or increased spending on social programs. This can have a significant impact on the distribution of wealth and income in the country. Populist leaders often attribute economic problems or social ills to immigrants. This can lead to policies that restrict immigration, such as building walls or imposing quotas. They also tend to adopt strict immigration public policies, like tightening border security, in an effort to keep out immigrants and other unwanted people, in order to appeal to their base, often overlooking humanitarian concerns. This can have a negative impact on trade and tourism, as well as increased humanitarian challenges in neighboring countries. Populism can also undermine democratic institutions and the rule of law when it opposes the established order. These leaders often adopt public policies that tend to erode democratic institutions, as well as restrict media freedom, thereby consolidating power, raising concerns about the state of democracy. Populist leaders may also oversimplify complex policy matters to gain popular support, leading to policies that lack nuance and practicality. The 2016 Brexit referendum in the United Kingdom is an example. Populist rhetoric around Brexit ignored the intricate details of the EU membership, leading to unforeseen economic and political consequences, as the complexities of disentangling from the EU became apparent. Populist thinking also tend to challenge the established elites and may call for accountability in government. This can lead to reforms, policies, and laws that promote transparency and reduce corruption. For example, a populist leader or party can center their campaign around anti-corruption and being tough on crime. This will lead to initiatives and public policies aimed at reducing corruption within the government and law enforcement agencies. Lastly, populist movements also advocate for economic policies that prioritize the well-being of ordinary citizens. For example, in Iceland, a populist political group emerged recently with a focus on transparency, direct democracy, and wealth redistribution. Their influence resulted in policies to increase corporate accountability, income equality, and addressing economic disparities. In conclusion, the impact of populism on public policy is a complex issue and can result in positive and negative consequences. On one hand, populism can amplify the voices of marginalized communities, hold elites accountable, and address economic disparities. On the other hand, it risks oversimplifying complex issues, fostering polarization, and eroding democratic institutions. The examples discussed in this video demonstrate that populism's influence on public policy varies depending on the context and leadership. Striking a balance between addressing the legitimate concerns of the populace and maintaining rational, evidence-based policy making remains a significant challenge for countries grappling with the rise of populism. Therefore, to maintain a healthy democracy, there needs to be a nuanced and critical assessment of the impact of populism on public policy. We've come to the end of this video on populism and its impact on public policy. So, thank you for watching. Please take time to check out our other videos on public administration, public finance, public sector governance, as well as the administration of government. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. And remember to turn on the notification button to make sure that you don't miss out when we post new videos. You can also connect with us by following us on social media at Consult Kano, and continue the conversation by leaving us a comment below or tagging us on social media using the hashtag ConsultKano. Thank you again for watching. Join us again next time for another video. Until then, check out these other videos. Kano Consultants. For professional advice you can trust.